So that can be, that weapon, brothers and sisters, if misapplied, can literally become not just counterproductive, destructive. I can't even tell you how many people I've seen in my life. Literally, they've lost the faith. They've left Allah. They've left Islam. Because of people in our communities that are giving advice in the wrong way. They just don't know what they're doing. And they become destructive, harmful element in our community. We need to be very careful about this. Does that mean now we stop giving advice? No. We need to learn how to give advice. Where else do we see problems? So you've said ignorance, not knowing what we're talking about, or how to give the advice. And we'll talk, inshallah, about important things we need to have in giving advice. What else do we see? So ignorance. What else? Recall a time when someone gave you advice that really, really made you sad or angry. What were the problems? Hypocrisy. Jazakallah khair. You know when they're giving it to you. Give me examples. Why do you think they were hypocrite? Whether you've seen something, so they gave you advice on something, right? But you know very well they're not being sincere about it. Why? Because they might be what? Exactly, doing the same thing. So that's, and you know it. Like, wait a minute. And not only you may be doing that thing, you might be doing other things, right? And I know from your, whatever, the way you even come across, you're not being sincere with me. But yet it gives you this kind of sense of joy, ecstasy that here you are. I pointed you out, right? I'm pointing out that flaw in you, and I'm going to make you feel bad about it. Somehow hypocrisy. And you notice that the heart of hypocrisy is not having what in your heart for someone. Not having what? When you say hypocrisy, hypocrisy means I'm going to say to you something that clashes with what? My intentions. So it's not having what? Good intentions. Plain and simple. Either I'm not aware of my behavior, so I'm being unintentionally hypocritical, right? Or I might not actually be having good intention towards you. Is that nasiha? What's the definition of nasiha? What's the central word that I want you to remember when you think of the word nasiha? Sincerity. So that's the number one condition. So if I come to you and I'm violating that thing in my life, the thing I want to, let's say I advise you to study. Hey, you need to study, bro. Right? You need to become organized. You need to listen to your parents. But I'm the last person to listen to my parents. Or I tell you something, and I really, in my heart, I really don't care for you. I'm just telling you things to make myself feel good. You know what? Giving nasiha feels good, doesn't it? Giving advice is actually very attractive. We all want to tell people what to do. We all want to tell people what to do. Sometimes someone comes to you, or imagine this, you go to somebody to share your pain. Something hurtful happened to you. You just want someone to listen to you. And this is very common in marriages, especially with men. The wives would come to their husbands, they just want to do what? Share. Right? You come back from work, you're school, you're tired, you're fatigued, and problems happen with whatever, your professor, things happen. And you're sharing that thing, and what does the husband proceed to do oftentimes? Who knows? You guys are not married, but this is a very common thing in relationships that men tend to do, is to stop listening and doing what instead? Telling the woman what? Who knows? Like the woman would start sharing the experience of pain. And the husband is listening, and all the husband is looking for is where the mistakes were to tell her what to do. See, what you need to do is such and such and such. You know, the opinion might be actually correct. But you know what the wife wanted? She didn't really want advice. She just wanted someone to listen. That's it. See my point? That always happens. It always happens. So now, in order to actually give it, we're going to talk about it, inshallah, a list of things, a list of conditions or etiquettes of nasiha, is to actually understand the person's situation and listen to them. Because people are different. Some things are simple. Brothers and sisters, this subject is so vast. Like, what do you get advice on, and how do you receive advice, and how do you give advice? There's so many areas in our lives where we need advice, right? Some of it is simple, some of it is complicated. But ultimately, you need to understand the human beings that you're dealing with. Now, I want to tell you something about giving advice. As we said, everyone wants to give advice. But very few want to listen. And there's a good reason why we don't want to listen. It's because We don't want to be hurt. And people, when they give advice, they hurt. They hurt you. Giving advice is very attractive. And it can easily turn into a self-righteous thing. Like a form of making ourselves feel good at the expense of others. Giving advice, brothers and sisters, can easily turn into a game of superiority, where you want to feel better than other human beings. Because the easiest thing for me to do, to feel good, is to, and especially if I don't feel, have good feelings towards you, is to just point out your flaws, right? Point out your flaws and say, I'm better than you. In the form of giving advice. Say, you brother, the way you're dressed is really messed up, right? The way you're standing in the line for the salah, right, is messed up. The way you're talking to the sisters is messed up. Blah, 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 blah. Now I feel what? I feel great about myself. It's very attractive. Very attractive. But the opposite, of course, is not true. No one wants to hear that. Right? So, moving on, inshallah, what other things, like what's the number one thing that is really, like, the worst thing that can happen in nasiha if someone gives it to you? We spoke about ignorance. We spoke about hypocrisy or insincerity. What else? Give me an example. So I'm looking for my keys. What am I busy with now? I'm like my mind is very scared actually. Like if I can't find my keys, I can't go to my appointment. Someone comes along and say, you see, you should have paid attention. Is that the best time to tell me that? Even if it's good advice. Is that really the best time? Couldn't you find a better time when I'm like calmed down a little bit? How often does that happen? At a point where you're not ready to receive nasiha. Someone comes and gives you nasiha, right? That's actually lack of wisdom. Lack of wisdom. Not understanding the time, the proper time and place to give somebody nasiha. So I'm just giving you an example of problems. Anything else? There's a big one that you guys haven't identified yet. Big one.
I actually have a question. Like,
Sure.
what if, in terms of timing, like, maybe you're not willing to accept the nasiha at that point, but would it be better for you to accept it regardless of the time?
Depends. Sometimes emotionally we're not ready at all. Sometimes, that's why nasiha, we don't want to trivialize it. Maybe the situation is so dangerous, you need to say something. Someone is about to hurt themselves. You can't say, are they ready to receive? Somebody is about to cross the road. Like, we don't say, hey, let me see, is that a good time for them? No, I go, of course that's a dramatic example. But there are situations that cannot afford, you're hurting another human being. I can't wait for you to feel good, right, to receive nasiha. You're hurting right now. This happens a lot in meetings. Meetings. I've seen this so much where someone gets attacked by someone else in a meeting. I swear to you, brothers, I've seen so much happen in meetings. Everybody else is silent while they see somebody getting insulted, right? And nobody puts a stop to it. In Islam, that's nasiha. To literally say that's unacceptable, that's unbecoming, that's the red line you just crossed, and to be firm with it. What you just did is empower that individual that is attacked and also put a stop to it. That cannot wait. Maybe in certain situations, it has to wait, where maybe it's the boss, right? And you can't say anything publicly because he might interpret it as an insult. Me knowing how that person is, and depending on the situation, maybe after the meeting I need to go talk to him and say, listen, that was too harsh. That was really harsh. You should go and apologize. But if I said it publicly, it would have created a worse situation. See my point? That comes down to wisdom. But every situation in life, sometimes they're so little that maybe you don't need to give advice at all, unless the thing they've done is so harmless, or it's not going to produce much harm. Like, you gotta let it go because you weigh the pros and cons. Say, you know what, this person, if they heard it from me, it might push them away. It might actually wreck the relationship. Why should I do that for something so tiny? Let it go. Most things in life we gotta let go. But my interest is in your growth. Nasiha is all about growth. I want to grow, I want you to grow. I want to become better, I want you to become better. It comes down to intentions though. But then having to figure out how to best find the time and place for your heart to receive that thing that I'm about to tell you. So before we get into the etiquettes, I want to hear from you. What's the worst thing that someone can do when they give someone advice? Do you want to tell you? Go ahead.
I don't know, but like doing it
And
publicly, like.
barakallah fiki. So literally for me right now to say, you should not interrupt me when I talk to you. I'm like, could you have found a better place than saying it in front of everybody? Right? I can't believe the way you're dressed. Right? Brothers and sisters, how often has this happened to us? Where people literally pinpoint us and they unleash on us in the presence of other people, doing it publicly. Does anybody want to share anything that they either witnessed or has happened to them? And inshallah, we can inshallah use as a case study for this, or as an example. Anybody? Like, I can recall numerous instances where I was like publicly, this has publicly happened to me. SubhanAllah, and it was devastating. Literally, it can just shut you out of an entire organization or out of a social scene. It's very embarrassing. Like, think about the consequences. Why do we feel hurt by this? Right? We all want social acceptance, right? And for you to be rebuked publicly is the most devastating thing to a person psychologically and emotionally. Can you recall times or think of someone that in front of you this has happened to and what has occurred and the consequences of this? Anyone? Go ahead.
I mean, this is one case, and I also wanted to ask about it. Like, you find this a lot on, especially on YouTube. Like, I know there's this channel that's like dedicated to giving nasiha, and usually they'll call out certain YouTubers or whatever, like Muslim YouTubers, and like, in the sense of giving them nasiha. Usually, most of the time, it will backfire, and they'll just start a war on social media that, oh, you can't be doing this, you can't be judging me, and all that. And one question that I do have out of that is like, if they're already committing sin in public, are you allowed to also like give them nasiha in public, or should it like what if they're not accepting your nasiha in private first, and then I don't know what they do?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a hard one to answer because it all depends on the situation. But I would say that, let's say they're doing it in public, and you know the individuals. Let's say they have a form of arrogance. Let's say their arguments are spilling over, and also costing others, like hurting others. Let's say it's really there's public harm from what is going on. And that's the problem with social media in general. Brothers and sisters, I can tell you, shield yourselves. Shield yourself, because in the name of giving nasiha and correcting evil and joining good, we end up even wasting people's time. Like, seriously wasting people's time and lives. This is not healthy at all. Like, we get sucked into this vortex, right, of nonsense. Have you guys not seen, again, these examples have happened in our community here at the MSA, where as sisters or brothers would be identified on the internet and everybody would start condemning them for their behavior. And you know what's happening with the psychology of people who give that condemnation? They're feeling on cloud nine religiously. They just literally feel that they're prophets of God on this earth. But you know what's happening inside? And I have no issue whatsoever saying this, bad intentions for that individual. Because if you really cared for them, what would you do? If you really wanted nasiha for that sister or that brother that has committed this sin, what would you do? You know what the Prophet ﷺ said? Veil them. You don't go talk about it in public. This is their right on you. And the Prophet ﷺ says that once you decide to bring something out in public about a person and make it a scandal on them, and by the way, we never say, I'm going to go make a scandal out of this on you. I'm going to condemn you publicly. You know what I say? Psychologically, I need a cover. So what I would say is, I'm going to go advise people so that they don't do what you're doing. You see how we cover it? We cover it under the guise of, oh, no, I want the public good. I need to remind people about the behavior of this person. Wallahi, brothers, this is the most evil behavior. Most evil. We should not, especially with our brothers and sisters. So the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever seeks out the flaws of others, whoever seeks out, searches for the flaws of others to expose them, Allah will search you out to find your flaws, and He knows your flaws, to expose them to everyone. The worst thing that can happen in our families and in our communities and with friends is to breach that. We need to protect them, veil them. Take them on a side if it's so serious and talk to them. Now, if they're so arrogant, that's why I say it's so generic. Depends on the situation, but I would say I could imagine a situation where there's so much harm that is happening from these arguments, and so many people are getting sucked into it. I have to say something. I will have to, but the statement should come out in a non-offensive, non-hurtful fashion, objective, right? Such that it curtails the harm and reminds others not to get sucked into this. And maybe invite those people to think about what they're doing. Maybe they will not, but you've done your part. But what should happen as you're doing it for it to become nasiha? Sincerity and also understanding what you're talking about. Let's say I don't understand the subject. People are talking about theology and I have no clue about theology. But the manner in which I see them talking to each other is very disrespectful. How often do we see this? Many so-called students of knowledge, people of knowledge of ilm, who have so much knowledge about the sciences of Islam, but they lack what? Adab. Where you said adab? Etiquette, respect, humility, and compassion. They lack it. Because that's the problem with the way we learn Islam now. We're so obsessed with learning Islam that we've missed the fundamentals. Sincerity is at the heart of Islam. Adab, etiquette and respect, compassion for your brothers and sisters is a duty. The rest, most other knowledge is not a duty on you. You just need to know what you need to know to get closer to Allah and to fulfill your obligations. The rest of knowledge is not incumbent on you. Just to let you know. But you know what? Adab is incumbent on you. Having good intentions for you is incumbent on you. It's actually a duty. It's non-negotiable. Caring for you is non-negotiable. Not hating you is non-negotiable. Does it make sense? How can we let go of these things? So you see these very people arguing on a theological point, on complex Islamic issues, while in the process they're disrespecting each other, maybe insulting, and maybe dragging others because people don't know any better. Let me drag you into this conversation to consume you with this unnecessary subject. How often do we see this on the internet? Nonsense. Wallahi, brothers, this is nonsense. That's at a time when I say, listen, maybe I do not understand the dimensions of that subject, the inner ins and outs of it, but you know what I know? I know that what I'm observing is lack of adab. So I need to remind them that this is a violation of the etiquettes of our faith. You just violated what it means to be caring and respectful and to protect your brothers and your sister. That I know, so I'm going to state it. Make sense? Make sense? So let it not be like a way out, an excuse to exit, to say, oh, well, I don't know about this subject. Well, maybe you've observed a behavior that is unbecoming, inappropriate, that is hurtful to someone else. Put a stop to that. Put a stop to that. How many of us brothers and sisters can claim that we don't know much about what it means to care for someone, or to hurt someone, or to oppress someone? We all know what that means. Makes sense? You don't need to be an expert in that. But all I need to know is now figure out how to deliver it in the best way, to assure the greatest good, and to minimize the harm. I need to check myself first. Because sometimes we do say things, unfortunately, whether in social media or meetings, all for us to look good. How often do we see this? You know those people in meetings who just want to say everything and have it, as I said, something to say about everything? Why? Because it just feels good. And it makes them feel prominent or look prominent, right? They want attention. You know what? If I'm saying something to you out of seeking attention, that's not nasiha anymore. I just violated you and I cheated you. So remember, the opposite of nasiha is what? Cheating. If I don't give advice in the best way, with the right intentions, I just cheated you. And I cheated Allah Azza wa Jalla. So let us, inshallah, talk about, based on what we've said, I want you to imagine the best advice that someone can give you. That's how we start. By the way, you'll find the answers on your own. Imagine someone giving you advice or counsel. Because sometimes we think advice, it has to be about a mistake. Well, not necessarily. Advice is not just for mistakes, brothers and sisters. What if I need to just, I don't know what to do after graduation? Should I go look for a job? Should I go to grad school? I get this question all the time. What should I do? Let me go talk to Brother Tariq, for example. That's called counsel. You need counsel. You need help in figuring out life. That's nasiha. Make sense? That's why I said to you earlier, we all need mentors and people that can offer us counsels so that we can arrive at the best decisions in our life. How about marriage? You think I should, what do you think of that person, that girl, that boy, right? Who should I marry, right? Or for you to come and suggest a human being for someone. That's nasiha. So it's not always about mistakes and correcting them. It's actually about helping